What's good, Chaotic Nation? It is your boy Chaos here, and today I thought I would bring you a simple and easy guide to how to do raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I have been doing raids since basically release day, and I found a few tricks that have helped out when creating your own raids and for trying to complete them in the fastest way possible, because we all just want to hunt those Herba Mystica for shiny hunting. So let's figure out how we're going to do that. I want to show you what I have on my game, and I'm going to do a raid for you to show you how it should work, and hopefully things go well. So I'm in the wrong switch to begin with. So first and foremost is some of the Pokemon you're going to want to have on your team. I tend to have about 5 different variants of Pokemon. You can make more, you can make less, depending on what you need. I'll go over all of them here. I'll show some of the other ones that I have built up. But this is my Scarlet copy here, and you can see I have Corviknight, which I find to be an all-around pretty solid support Pokemon. This is the moveset I run on it. Obviously, you can change Iron Head for like Pluck or something if you want to have a more of a flying type offensive rather than a steel type offensive. Basically, it's a one move, and then you want a supporting move, either Screech or in this case, Corviknight can learn Fake Tears, because I taught it before. It also can learn Metal Sound. So you want something like that that's going to be a stat dropping move. That is a primary factor on a support Pokemon. Also, Light Screen and Reflect are very helpful for building a Pokemon that is going to be a support based Pokemon. It's not necessarily that you have to have both on the same set. I just made one Corviknight, so if I was going to make a second Corviknight, I would probably do one where it's Screech and either Reflect. Then I would probably do one with Screech and Light Screen, one with Screech, not Screech, but either Fake Tears or Metal Sound, and then Light Screen, or Fake Tears or Metal Sound and Reflect, just so I could have a little bit of variance. Taunt is also a good option for Corviknight, which makes it a really solid Pokemon for this. One actually I don't have built is Umbreon, who is a really good Pokemon too, for the same reasons, and can be interchanged based on what typing you want to have. Steel is pretty solid, only really going to cause problems with your electric types. Well, actually not even electric types, since it's resisted by steel type, so it's neutral. But Corviknight's typing is really good, really only weak to fire, and a few other things. Can't really think of them off the top of my head, but you can find those out. But it's really weak to fire, so if you have something that's obviously using fire type moves, note it and go on from there. But I'll cover that more later in the video. I have Haxorus here, and I found Haxorus to be a pretty solid Pokemon to have for Pokemon like Dondozo, who have abilities that really prevent stat changes. Oblivious has been one of the most difficult things I've come across doing raids, and it literally made a Dondozo fight incredibly difficult and impossible to beat without getting something like this. Why Haxorus works in this situation, or maybe even Tinkatuff, there's a few other Pokemon, it's because its ability is Mold Breaker. Mold Breaker allows you to bypass the ability of your opponents, so that way the unaware or oblivious status that the opponent has goes away. So it basically makes this Pokemon work as if that is not even there, and you can plow through the raids like you have done in the past. This is the set I run for Haxorus. It's more of an attacking set, which is what you should be doing, but it is important that you are running Swords Dance on this set. This is Haxorus' best way to get set up. So, I mean, Dragon Dance is a move that Haxorus can get, but you can also switch out some of these moves, like maybe you want to use Outrage to lock into a move and have more power. Maybe you want to build it more of a... It can be a defensive Pokemon too, which it's not really that great in that regard, but this is what I found to be useful. The set gives you coverage for things that are weak to ground, dark, and dragon. Ultimately, really solid overall. But it's important to have a mold-breaking Pokemon if you're going to build raids, because you never know when you're going to get dropped by a Dondozo. And the good part about Dondozo is it is one of those Pokemon that is probably going to drop Herba Mystica if you run across it. It is, I think, higher chances in 5- and 6-star raids. So you're going to want a Mold Breaker Pokemon, so that way you don't miss out on those Herba Mysticas. Another one that I found to be a really good support is Grimmsnarl. I have given both Grimmsnarl and Corviknight a Lumberry. This is helpful for status conditions like paralysis that would inhibit this Pokemon. Really good for sleep, because a lot of Mons have hypnosis or something like that. Can help you get rid of burns, which isn't really that great. And for something like Grimmsnarl, helps you deal with poison, so you're not taking that residual damage. It's just a really good item to have to get rid of those status conditions for your team. Grimmsnarl works in the same ways that Corviknight runs. I have built this one a little bit as a special attacking support, where it still has the same core movesets as Corviknight with Reflect, Light Screen, and Fake Tears this time as a special Pokemon. But I'm running Dark Pulse as an overall good stab move for this Pokemon, and also it's just a good Pokemon. This Pokemon has Prankster, so it makes it better. In some cases, obviously mine does not have that because I have not set it up, but Prankster is probably the ability you want for this, rather than something like Pickpocket here. Essentially, this works the same way as Corviknight does, it's just a different Pokemon. Grimmsnarl is not a bad option. I would probably recommend either Umbreon or Corviknight for this role, but Grimmsnarl can make it work as well. Next up is Azumarill, and this Pokemon has a reason in a couple different Pokemon, and that's because its ability is Huge Power, which is doubles this Pokemon's stat. You can see that Azumarill stat is 145, not that great, but it is paired with Belly Drum, and when it's doubled, that makes this Pokemon incredibly powerful. Azumarill is really good in that regard. The other side of this coin is that I'm going to be showing you right now is Iron Hands, which a lot of people are using during raids. This Pokemon is really good because it is similar to Azumarill in that it has Belly Drum. It already has an incredibly high attack stat, so it doesn't really need the Huge Power buff, but having Belly Drum is a really good way to one-shot a Pokemon. You want to have the highest boost in your attack stat, whichever that is going to be, physical or special, and the lowest drop in the opponent's defense stat, which is either special or physical defense, based on how you're hitting it. So that way you can almost guarantee that you are going to one-shot the Pokemon. If you have a super effective move and you have a max out attack stat in either special or physical, they're -6, you're +6, it's going to be a one-shot most likely every single time. 6 stars tend to stay alive a little bit longer, but you're going to want to have that as your goal when creating this. Azumarill is here on this team for me because I don't have Iron Hands in my Scarlet copy, but it does work in some of the similar manners in that it is a Huge Power mon, has a really high attack stat, can get access to Belly Drum, and this works out differently than Iron Hands because it is a water and a fairy type, so I have both water and fairy stabs on this thing. I tend to run Rain Dance on my set just so I can get a little bit of weather coverage in case like sun would come up to reduce the damage, because a lot of fire types are going to be carrying Sunny Day, but also it gives you even more power on that Aqua Tail at +6, and it allows you to, first turn you click Belly Drum, second turn you could heal, and then third turn you can Rain Dance, and by that time if you have one person helping you, you're going to be at +6, they're going to be dropping your opponent's stat to -6, and you'll be able to go from there, no problem whatsoever. Azumarill and Iron Hands both work in the same fashion. Iron Hands is slightly different because Iron Hands will be running more of the electric and fighting type of moves. Mine specifically has Fire Punch on it because I wanted coverage for Pokemon. That's a typing I found I didn't have any coverage for. I didn't have anything to deal with water type, to deal with grass types or bug types. So I wanted to have fire type as a coverage move for my Iron Hands, and that's what I ran up for. And the last Pokemon I want to go over is Tinkaton. It is similar to Haxorus in that it has the ability Mold Breaker, which makes it really good. I have mine built as a special attacker rather than a physical attacker, since it doesn't really matter which way you're running it. I like to run Draining Kiss on this thing, so if you're doing a Flutter Mane as a special attacker with Calm Mind or something like that, you want to run Draining Kiss, that way you get your HP back. It has Fake Tears, Reflect, Light Screen, typical your support. Now, the one thing I don't actually have on either of my builds is a special attacker, mostly because I've been doing supports in the raids that I've been playing, so I haven't really focused on building attackers. But if you're going to build a special attacker, you want something probably with a really high special attack stat, some decent bulk, which is probably around an 80 base stat total in HP, defense, and special defense. And you want to have the move Nasty Plot, if I didn't say that already. That way you can boost 2 stages rather than boosting only 1 with Calm Mind or something like that. Because the faster you get the +6 or -6, the faster you can get through a raid. So Swords Dance and Nasty Plot are really good options if you don't have access to Belly Drum. So not just to talk about how this is working, I wanted to showcase how this works out in an actual raid battle. So I have found a 5-star Haxorus raid here, which I'm going to be doing. I'm going to challenge as a group, and I will set all this up in between a cut, but I'm going to be playing off my Violet copy as well at the same time. So I wanted to go over team composition for this raid specifically, and this is going to be different for every single raid. As we can see, Haxorus is an Ice type, Tera type, which means it's going to be weak to things that Ice is weak to. So fighting, fire, steel, rock, those kinds of moves. I have an Iron Hands, which is a fighting type with close combat and belly drum, so it's going to make it really easy to go by. Haxorus defenses are pretty similar, so it doesn't really matter which side you're hitting it on. So I'm going to be pairing my physical attacker Iron Hands on my Violet copy rather, with my physical support on my Scarlet copy, which is my Corviknight in this case. So essentially what the plan is for this, and what the plan should be for every raid, is have your support mon get the mon to -6 as fast as possible. If it is a powerful Pokemon, you might want to set up Light Screen or Reflect. That will help you out. Your attacker should be at +6 as fast as possible. If you can do Belly Drum, that's great. Once your attacker is +6, if the opponent Pokemon is not at -6 at that point in time, you should be healing in order to keep your team alive, or giving defense boost to your teammates so that way they do not die and you can get through this raid as quickly as possible. I'm going to stop talking and explaining it now, because we're going to get into this battle and see what happens. Now, with the strategy I have built up, and luckily I have 2 switches, so I can solo most raids by myself. So I've been doing this quite a bit. Multi-Mayhem has happened, and yeah, I did this strategy a lot. So I've been playing this, been doing this, and running through it. So you will see me in their game twice. We will hopefully see a shiny Haxorus, which we do not. And so you're gonna see you're gonna see my Scarlet perspective, so you're not gonna see what I'm doing with Iron Hands, but I'll be explaining it nonetheless. This is also really hard because I'm playing with 2 controllers at the same time, just to show you how I'm doing it correctly. So the other thing about Corviknight is it has mirror armor, so if a Pokemon has like Intimidate, you can use Intimidate in order to bounce back the attack drop on your opponent. So like if your opponent's going to be using Intimidate on you, like a Luxray, you can bounce that right back to them and they have a minus attack. So what I have done already with my Corviknight is I'm at -2 right now. This will be -3, although I miss. And I've already set up with my Iron Hands to +6, so I'm going to heal this turn. As you can see in the top left, I'm a little bit low because I use Belly Drum at half my attack. And so while Corviknight is sitting here trying to lower the defense of this Haxorus, I have to wait with my Iron Hands in order to get it to -6. So I will probably continue to heal all the time because that'll become Corviknight's job once or if there is a Terrestrial Shield pop up. So once that happens, and I see that it is -6, which it is right now, we're fine. However, my abilities just got reset. I'm watching my Violet copy, which is a little bit faster. And you can see Mirror Armor dropping defense there. So that resets the abilities and stat changes on my side of the field. Ability Shield's really nice here if you have an ability that's going to boost your stats. And obviously you can press Y at any time to check to see what it is. It's -6, so I don't really need to do much here. I can take the turn to heal, whereas I can let my Iron Hands go in and one-shot it. So I'm at +6, it's at -6, it's burned even, and this should one-shot as soon as I get close combat off. And you see the health bar go by. So that is the easiest way to do it. I will note that shields are incredibly annoying. You want to avoid shields as much as possible, which is why you want to set up the +6 in attack and -6 in defense, because if you do that, you should one-shot the Pokemon. Again, 6-star raids are a little finicky, so they might live and reset to half or something. But you want to do that. Obviously, that sucks that I didn't get any bottle caps, but it's okay. So if you do have a Tera Shield, that is going to be a different scenario than one-shotting it like we have. Obviously, when a Tera Shield is up, you cannot status the Pokemon. You cannot use status moves on the Pokemon, which means your fake tears, your screech, your metal sound, they will not work. So your entire job of your support Pokemon is to becoming the screens Pokemon. It should be using its setup at that point in time, like the cheers, to increase health, to increase attack, If it's a Pokemon that doesn't have like Belly Drum, they can't get the +6 immediately. You want to be helping them out with that, or boost defenses even farther. A lot of these Pokemon, once they get into a Terrestrial Shield, will start to set up themselves. Some Pokemon have Bulk Up. Some Pokemon have Sword Stance. Some Pokemon have Nasty Plot and Calm Mind, and they're going to do the same thing you're doing to them. So you just want to make sure that you have that covered before you go and attack it. Because if you aren't protecting your attacker, you're not going to win that raid. And I find that to be the most frustrating thing. The other thing I will note is if you are not the primary attacking Pokemon, you should be supporting in some way, shape, or form, whether that's cheers or screens or dropping stats. You want to make sure you have your primary attacker be the only thing that is going to hit that terrestrial Pokemon. As you saw with the Haxorus raid, they were my teammates who weren't controlled by me, the AI, were chipping down Haxorus' health. Now, we were almost at the point where the shield would pop out. Luckily, I was able to hit it before then. But if you are constantly chipping down your opponent and your physical attacker isn't set up, or if it isn't -6, they might have to attack early, which would result in a shield at a lower health, which means you're probably not going to break the shield. The shield's going to reset your stats. The shield's going to reset the stats of your opponent, most likely, because they get like 5 turns. So they'll probably do 2 moves and drop both stats and then one of the other things, which is probably a setup move and or attack you again. So you're going to want to try to one-shot every single raid that you're doing. If you're not doing that, you're not helping the team as much as you could, and people are going to have a hard time doing raids with you. I have done this many times on my Twitch stream, and people who do not know how to do raids have made me frustrated at doing them because I know that I could beat them by myself in one go, but I want to share the rewards with my community. And it's just really frustrating as the person hosting the raid because you have to sit there and it's like, I can't do anything. I have to go back and reset this raid. We got to do it again. We wasted 5 minutes where we could have beat a raid and been done. Don't be those people. Use this guide, help set out your Pokemon. And if you want to drop something you found helpful in the comment section down below for a raid, that is great. I will say, as a caveat, I know as of recording this, the Cinder Race events are going on. There are going to be specific Pokemon that are going to be helpful for that. So just know that. Some of these Pokemon that I'm suggesting to you as a general rule, as a general set of Pokemon to be using, are not going to be the best for the Cinder Race. If you're doing a promoted Pokemon, make sure you are building specifically to what those Pokemon have, what their movesets are, what their Terra type is. Good resource for that if you want, Cerebi.net, great place, always has up-to-date information. That is where I recommend you check it out. It should have all the moves, it should have the ability, it should have the Terra type. That's probably also released by Nintendo and Pokemon, so check out the official sources for that. So that way you know what you're going to be dealing with and you can build accordingly. A special note for 6 and 7-star raids is they are level 90 and level 100 respectively, which means your Pokemon also need to be minimum 95, probably level 100. If you do raids long enough, you should get enough EXP candies that you can start building new Pokemon, but make sure you have one really solid Pokemon first. If you are trying to build 3 or 4 different things and they're only like level 75, you're not really going to be helping the team that much. Sure, you can be carried by people who know what they're doing, but you're not going to be helping people unless you're in the high 90s or level 100. So make sure you are getting your Pokemon to that level. If you are doing a 6 or a 7-star raid, level 100 is pretty much the minimum. So make sure you're getting your Pokemon leveled up that way. And note that doing 5-star raids gives you this candy, so make sure you're investing that back into Pokemon to build more. Likelihood of you doing these raids is for shiny hunting purposes, so you're not building competitive teams and you're not trying to raise Pokemon to level 100. So take advantage of the candies you're getting and invest that in the Pokemon to help you do the raids faster. I hope this guide has been helpful. If it has, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I don't normally do this kind of video, but I have been frustrated by it so many times in my live stream and hanging out with friends that I just wanted to give this little bit of video for things I found helpful, so that way you guys can also experience these raids in a good way that gets you through them really quickly and makes it easier to shiny hunt in the future, because I know that's why I'm doing raids. So Hopefully you learned something today. If you did, good on me. Make sure you hit that like button. If you didn't learn anything, thumbs down. That's fine. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. And if you want to do raids, look at my Twitch. That's linked down below. I'm probably doing raids. I do them at least once a week, barring any special event going on. But usually on Wednesday nights, I'm doing raids. So come check it out. Love to have you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And until next time, my name is Chaos. I'm signing off. Stay safe. And as always, burn it up.